definition is the first one, not the second. We can apply, let's think about Israel, for example. Can a Palestinian convert to Judaism and become an Israeli? They can't. They're specifically excluded by law. Great example of how the exact same strategies that were employed against Jews in the past are employed by Israel against Palestinians today. Anyway, so what else does our friend here say? He continues his rant about like how you have to accept what Israelis want to do to Palestinians, like how they would never accept one state, they would never accept Palestinians being on equal footing to them. Why? They just wouldn't accept that, and they're Jewish. You can't say that's wrong. They're Jewish. What are you, anti-Semitic? That's his entire argument. He's the biggest mental midget ever.
They're going to leave because they have nowhere else to go. As long as
that's just simply not true. There are more Jews outside of Israel than there are in Israel. Tons of them have dual national citizenship. They very obviously do have other places to go. Not that anyone is saying they would have to go, but something that you bring up. Though obviously, if you're living in someone else's house, yeah, obviously that should be given back to them. Just like how, for example, the Arab countries in the 1970s, as a bloc, offered people who were expelled from Arab countries in the decades prior the ability to return and have all their property returned to them. Something that Israel cannot say.
To ignore the real reality and the lived experience of Jews.
Just ignoring the lived experiences. It's just such a banal appeal to emotion. It's so basic, so stupid.
Created Zionism, as long as you keep treating a genuine movement of people who were refugees, who had nowhere else to go in the world.
How many people in Israel have ever been refugees today? What do you think? Like a couple 100,000 at most, maybe? But you lose any sort of claim to refugee status. If you might have once had a claim to it, you lose that the second that you move somewhere into someone else's house, the second that you move somewhere. Not to live alongside people, not to take refuge among them, but to destroy them in their society and take it for yourself. That is the moment where you lose any claim to being a refugee. Simple. The Puritans who laid the groundwork for what would later become the USA, the Native American genocide, they were refugees from religious persecution in Britain. You know when they stopped being refugees? The second they started attacking Native Americans, the second they started taking their land. The second that they did anything aside from seek refuge among them is when they stopped being refugees. If you look at any sort of international definition of refugee today, is a refugee someone who invades someone else's country and takes their land? I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure it's not included.
World, going to a place and deciding this is our home.
Oh, so wait.
This is not our home, we die.
Wait, they went there and they decided that it was theirs. They went there and they decided that it was theirs. He's literally arguing that they went there, they said it's theirs, it's theirs. You're anti-Semitic if you think otherwise. Holy fuck. Holy fuck, man. They went there, they expelled the Palestinians, they genocided them, they ethnically cleansed them, they massacred them, they confined them to concentration camps, they continue to settle their lands to this very day. But they are Jewish. You don't understand. They are Jewish. They decided this land was theirs, and they don't want to leave. They don't want to give anything up to their victims. So, and you need to respect that. Why? Because they're Jewish. The entire argument just goes back to this sort of mystical Jewish essence. It's literally just the appeal to Jewishness fallacy. The end of every single argument, when you get to the crux of it, is Jewish. They are Jewish. They are Jewish. They're Jewish. It's just that they think Jews should be able to do whatever they want. And imagine adding music and like epic B-roll to this, thinking it was amazing. Like, holy fuck, man. Do you guys have a functioning brain cell? Are your neurons firing at all to digest what's actually being said, the substance of it? Because there's none of it. It's dumb slop said confidently. And when you get to the crux of it, it's literally nothing more than they are Jewish, ergo they should be allowed to do whatever they want. And if you say otherwise, you're anti-Semitic. Let's continue this dumpster fire. This video is no
Majority
longer
of people
okay,
is our home. And you don't acknowledge that because you just think it's, oh, white Europeans coming with the British and the American. Then yes, you're anti-Semitic.
Like, and this is an argument they also make where it's like, if you're not white, it's allowed to do colonialism and massacre. Like, it doesn't matter if everyone in Israel is mega omega brown or white. It doesn't matter. What does that have to do with anything? Do you think if you're brown, you can do colonialism? Obviously, you don't think that, given that Lonerbox denounces Palestinians for doing, like, not even remotely colonialism. Like, any Palestinian who does literally anything, he denounces. So, and most of them are brown.
Because your entire analysis of Israel is completely ignorant of the real experience of Jews that resulted in them going to Palestine.
The real experience, the lived experience.
Team deathmatch.
It's so fucking dumb, man.
Work your frag list.
It's nothing. There's no substance there. It's complete slop. It's dumb just saying, just basically, you might as well just say the word Jew over and over. Jewish, Jew. Jew. Jewish. That's the entire argument. It's an appeal to like a socially constructed ethnic group as if there's something magically about like a magical essence that makes them perennially oppressed no matter what they are, no matter who they are, no matter where they are, no matter what year we're in. A fact that you can debunk by simply looking at reality of today, where that's not the case. And even if it were the case, it would not justify colonialism, would not justify genocide and ethnic cleansing. I don't care if you fled the Holocaust. If you flee the Holocaust straight into a Palestinian house, and then you shoot at them when they try to return, that is the point where you stop being a refugee. Simple. A refugee lives alongside you. He does not kick you out.
Standing by.
Using scout pulse. Flashbang out. Semtex.
Another great example of this idiotic like refugee or fleeing persecution argument. Tens of thousands of Irish were forcibly deported from Ireland as indentured servants to the Caribbean and what would later become the USA by Britain. Forcibly deported in 5 to 10 year forced indenture contracts. Many of them, once their contract was up, they decided to stay, buy land, because usually they would make some money off doing that, or they would be given a parcel of land, buy slaves. Buy land or massacre Native Americans for their land, buy slaves to work the land for them. Let us try to apply Lonerbox's logic to this situation. Are you saying that those Irish were simple slave owners and colonizers just because they massacred some Native Americans and bought a couple dozen black people to be slaves? Are you denying the lived experience of the poor Irish? Don't you know they literally fled? That not only did they flee persecution from Britain by the British colonizers who were genociding them, many of them were forcibly deported against their will and forced to work for British people against their will for 10 years. And then after that, they buy some slaves and they take some land from some Native Americans. And you think that you can just call them so simply slavers and colonizers? Why are you denying their lived experiences? Why are you doing anti-Irishism? It's the exact same argument. Would anyone ever say it doesn't matter they're Irish for that argument? No. So you can't just say it doesn't matter they're Jewish for the same argument made for Jews.
Enemy RCXD detected.
Semtex front. Hostile down. Tally RCXD.
And that's the crux of it.
Sending flashbang.
These sorts of arguments, they only work if you believe in some sort of innate Jewish magical essence that makes Jews oppressed irrespective of time, place, history, irrespective of reality. That gives them some sort of innate right to do things that would otherwise be impossible. And when you dissect these arguments, when you refute them on the basis of the facts, when you think about the logic behind them, that's what it always comes down to. Just how dare you, you anti-Semite? How dare you say that Jews should not be allowed to do settler colonialism, that Jews should not be allowed to have an ethno-state? How dare you say that Palestinians should not be allowed to be a majority in their own homeland, and that the invading settlers should not be allowed to, like, have their own little majority ethno-state for themselves on the land of those people, at those people's expense? How dare you? Why? Magical Jewishness. It's that simple. That is the quintessential example of Jewish exceptionalism and the appeal to Jewishness fallacy all in one. I'll make a main channel video on that eventually.
Tossing flash. Semtex incoming.
I don't know if I should need to explain this, but I will tack this on to the end of that clip, okay? There's nothing special about Jews. Jewishness is just another socially constructed division among human beings. Okay? It's that simple. And no group of people should have some sort of special immaterial rights to do things that would otherwise be completely impermissible for everyone else, like settler colonialism. You know, there's a certain time where you look at something, you can say, okay, based on the material circumstances that was justified. Like, you know, look at the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, for example. Why was that justified? Is it because the people who rose up were Jews? No, it's because they were fucking locked into a concentration camp, sentenced to die. That is the thing that made what they did justified and good. Not the fact they were just Jews. But for someone like Lonerbox, it's the first thing that makes it justified, not the latter. And that is really the crux of the issue. It's an appeal to like an arbitrary made-up division among human beings, rather than anything real. Rather than the real present circumstances of those human beings. And it's bullshit. It's dumb garbage, basically. Just ignore it. It's a joke.
The CIA against a handful of goddamn criminals. This is the best.
Time to stop the bleeding. RTB, we're done.
Why would you want to do that? Practically just getting you, idiot. Pretty much the only thing left you can do. Palestine is nuke it. You've dropped every other kind of bomb on there.
All right. What's next? Maybe we can get to actually news now. Actual news. So there was an article in the New York Times. Obviously, the New York Times
nuke your
likes
mom
to,
with my
whitewash
dick.
stuff, but even they can't help but report on this stuff now. So there was an article in the New York Times that was like about how they got like secret documents revealing that in like the first month or two of the Gaza genocide, the Israeli military gave like an express order that they could kill like one presumed Hamas supporter for 20 civilians. In some cases, up to 100 civilians. Now, the New York Times sort of took this at face value, very much so. Hold on, let me bring up like the deep paywall article.
By the way, only a virgin would have the name I Love Tatas. Just know that. Just every girl you try to talk to, just know that if they see that name, they know that you have zero game. Period. Thank you.
Weapons free, people. Lay some hate on them. We got the lead. Now hold it.
Flashbang sent. Flash thrown.
Thank you, removepaywall.com. It really does do what it says on the tin.
Flashbang incoming.
All right, so article title. Israel loosens its rules to bomb Hamas fighters, killing many more civilians. Surprised by October 7th. You notice the language here that this tries to basically takes everything that Israel does at their word and tries to like present their perspective as like the main one that you should be paying attention to. So it's surprised by October 7th and fearful of another attack, like trying to rationalize this. Israel weakens safeguards meant to protect non-combatants, allowing officers to endanger up to 20 people in this airstrike. One of the deadliest bombardments of the 21st century followed. So the actual news here is Israel issued extermination order saying that a combatant to civilian death ratio of 1 to 20 was okay. That's the real framing here. Particularly because what Israel claims to be a combatant is not a combatant. Okay? Israel targets journalists. Israel targets like random people like from the political wing of Hamas. Israel targets like government workers, like, you know, a bureaucrat or whatever. Israel will target someone who was like in a photo with someone who was like tangentially linked to Hamas once. Israel's idea of what constitutes a combatant is so broad that they can justify killing anyone to themselves and as many civilians as they want around them to themselves. That is the real framing of this article.
Target dropped.
How it should actually be framed. Now, the article, of course, tries to justify it by quoting the Israelis presenting their perspective. Well, what do you expect us to do after our prisoners broke out and attacked us? Of course we're going to kill 20 civilians for every one random guy who we claim is Hamas while providing no proof. Now, there is a complementary report released by some people way less bad. Air Wars. We looked at the actual evidence for people who died in October 20th in October 2023 in Gaza, and confirm the ratio of people for whom there is any actual evidence of them being militants with civilian casualties.
It ain't working. We lost the advantage.
Out of in 606 mass bombings, in which 522 civilians were died.
We've taken control.
Only between 32 and 60 militants could be identified, or 32 like actually identified, and 60 possible.
Damn it, we've lost the lead.
Yeah, like for 32 there is clear evidence. For 60 there is maybe like the Israelis claiming as such, but you know you can't trust them. So.
Come on, you're losing this fight.
Enemies have destroyed your assault back.
Every single one of these was an attack specifically on a residential building. Now, this sort of ratio, these sort of like 1 to 20, you know, like people have been saying like Lona buffs, those deaths in those sorts of people, they've been saying like, well, it can't be a genocide. Where's the order from the Israelis? You know, where's the specific, it's not a genocide regardless of how obvious you can infer that it is from what they're actually doing, until you get like a specific written order from them to kill civilians. And well, there's a specific written order from them saying they can kill 20 civilians for every combatant.
Get a UAV in the
So
air.
what now? What you going to move on to? And then we have an actual analysis of the people who were killed that shows that the ratio was not even 20 to 1. Okay? Even on the high end.
Scout force available.
It would be far more logical to assume that Israel was targeting civilians and accidentally killing some people who were associated with Hamas in the process. That is way more likely.
Scanning with scout pulse.
It's also clear, by the way, totally clear. Ever since, you know, I made my video on Gaza death toll denial a couple of months ago. But if you look at the graph of the official death toll, it is clear at this point that the reporting capacity has for a very long time, honestly, a year now, possibly longer. When is this end? I see one. Okay, this goes up to.
Nice. Pull it ahead.
I just need one that covers like the whole to present every 5 days. This goes up until November.
This shit ain't working. We lost the advantage.
It reached 40,000 in August, and this goes up to November, and it's at like 43,000. There is no fucking way. There's no way. This is not due to the Israelis killing less people. It's because the reporting capacity has been completely destroyed. Not to mention that official counts are always a massive underestimate. At this point, 200,000 would be a low estimate. And you'll notice that a lot of the people who previously denied the death toll entirely have moved on to claiming that the death toll is the only reliable thing.
You want to get out of this alive? Better step up.
So people who were like, oh, it's the Hamas Ministry of Health, the Hamas death toll. Now, they are happy to go over it, and they're like, come on, you can't, we need hard evidence. I want to see a dead body of every claimed dead person. Otherwise, it's not real. You can't make estimates based like the same sort of estimates that people would accept in any other situation.
That's what the diggers get your ass buried.
Like the Syrian civil war death toll figures, by the way, they're basically entirely made up. There's not like a list of names or anything to go along with them. They accept those, no problem, even though they're estimates.
Someone's got to start the party.
So quite clearly now, there is more than enough evidence to convict Israel. We shouldn't have needed this much evidence, obviously, because these are things that you can conclude just by looking at what they're doing. Inferences. You can make it any situation like this where people are just being fucking massacred en masse like this. Civilians, obviously, being massacred en masse like this. One, there is a clear order from the Israeli military authorizing them to kill 20 civilians in one fucking strike. Up to 100 in some cases. That's just giving the military, telling them, kill as many people as you want, basically. Go ham. We're okay with it. 2, clear evidence from actual analysis of the people who have died, showing that there is little to no evidence for any significant number of combatants among them. Which, something that was already obvious given the lopsided ratio of women and children relative to other conflicts, given that in other conflicts, usually among civilians, men are like 60-70% of the dead. And 3, given the complete breakdown in reporting capacity and the like almost flatlining of the death toll, it's clear that the death toll is so much higher than it's actually being reported. Yet denial continues. You think like those sorts of people like Lone Rogues, Destiny, those sorts are ever going to fucking cover these reports? They're just going to ignore it completely. So yeah, I mean, what more is there to say? The evidence is piling the fuck up. It was already obvious though, a year ago, more than a year ago. At this point, anyone who is continuing to defend this shit is doing it because they support it, nothing else.
Taking the lead. Stay on time.
Anyway, be right back and then we'll cover more exciting news. Like Asmodee going to Saudi Arabia, the most exciting news of the week. And I'm pretty sure they are...
We're losing Charlie.
So 2024 is coming to an end, and as is tradition, I am making a wrap-up video. Now, this one's going to be a little less structured because I realised people don't really just want to recap like everything that happened in terms of me showing you stuff. I mean, maybe some of you do, but these videos don't really get like great views. But I like making them because I just like reflecting on the year. You guys might have noticed, not my content quality in terms of the way I speak, because I'm still doing the same thing. Like I'm, planning and editing, kind of the same. I'm recording a lot more videos on my webcam because I don't know about everyone else. I'm just so burnt out this year, and I'm not burnt out from working because I know I'm not a very privileged job. I do YouTube full time. What I'm burnt out from is just politics and the news. I feel like 2024 in particular has just been so insane. Like I was thinking about the other week, we had that Luigi Mangione stuff. We had Al-Assad being toppled, which is something that like we thought would never happen, thanks to all those memes. And we had like South Korea nearly going full fascist again. That was happening in like 3 days. And then of course we had like 2 elections in the English-speaking world. We had the US and the UK one. Donald Trump, someone tried to kill him, and then we just forgot about it within like 2 days, and then he became president. Like, when I think about stuff that happened like in January, I'm like, that feels like 10 years ago. And I know maybe a lot of people think this is like how you always feel, but it's not how it always was. Like, as someone who's been following politics for a long, long time, it didn't always feel like there was so much stuff. The year just kept dragging on and on. Today, I just want to talk about like a variety of stuff. Some of it might just be random social media stuff. Some of it might be more heavy political stuff. I want to talk about myself personally. I love talking about myself, but I don't really talk about like personal achievements. And I'll save that for the end because I know, as much as you think as a YouTuber people subscribe and watch your videos for you, that's really not the case. People subscribe for Ubisoft, not for you and your personal life and what you're interested in as a person.
He did nothing wrong, and he did nothing
I'm
wrong.
going to save that right for the end. If anyone cares, you can listen to that.
Losing
But
Bravo.
I guess the big topic of the year, let's talk about the big thing, which is just...
Dude, I am soaking.
I had that sign up for like a year, 15 months maybe, for the first protest of MC. The fact Israel is still doing whatever it wants to do with Netanyahu in charge as well, I just can't believe it. And I guess that's the big story in 2024.
Thank God I don't get challenged.
International order is just a joke. And the whole international community, or let's say the Western-led international community, allowing what's happening in Gaza to keep going, despite us knowing this is like the worst genocide of the 21st century by far. We still have people who are in offshoots of this community online, in the left-wing space, who deny this, who go to Israel and interview some of the most fanatical Zionist fascists in Israel, pal around with them, and everyone is still normalising what's happening. Not only that, it's not only got worse for Gaza this year, Israel also invaded southern Lebanon, and Israel has also invaded parts of Syria as well, expanding its Golan settlements and attacking Damascus, despite the fact that Assad is gone. So they're attacking, like, Assad after, they're attacking Syria after Assad is gone as well. And no one has anything to say. And in the UK, we've had a new government, just as fanatically pro-Israel as the rest of them. And even though the ICC has put out arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Yoav Galan, loads of European countries saying, what if Netanyahu comes here? We won't arrest him. They're all signed up to the ICC. America isn't, of course, and Israel isn't. But at the same time, the countries that would arrest Putin for going there are now saying, oh, Netanyahu comes here. Now that's cool. And what I hope people realise is that for a lot of Westerners, and I'm going to include Israel in this, people don't care about the political differences. Like, as long as they all hate Muslims, and you're seeing that more and more. Like, think about the elections we just had in Europe. You know, I don't remember all of them because it's been such a crazy year. But every European election is like, who hates Muslims the most? And that is, you know, transition to Israel stuff. The two elections in the US and the UK were the Israel elections. And in the UK, and this is my criticism of the US left, I'm going to talk about it. In the UK, thankfully, we had some sort of movement to be like, we reject this. Like, I am not voting for Labour. I did not vote for Labour. Most left-wing people did not vote for Labour unless you had like an actual socialist MP, which is, you know, that's fine in my opinion. They shouldn't be in the Labour Party, which is their own party, but that's whatever. But thankfully, for the first time, we had the highest number of independent MPs elected into Parliament, and that was around the issue of Gaza. Jeremy Corbyn eviscerated his Labour Party opponent in his local election. Keir Starmer got less votes, but nearly half the amount of votes he got in 2019 in his own seat, because Andrew Feinstein, who was an anti-apartheid campaigner in South Africa, he ran against him. And it looks like Keir Starmer, if left-wing groups coordinate better, just anti-Labour groups, they could overthrow him at the next election. They could have done it this time because there were more votes against Labour than there were for Labour. And Keir Starmer was the Prime Minister's own seat. That never happened, by the way. Rishi Sunak still got a big majority in his own seat. Most of the old Tories who still ran in the government did pretty well because they're popular locally. Keir Starmer is so unpopular locally, and then he's just been an absolutely terrible, terrible Prime Minister, like us on the left really said he would be. He is basically just doing the Tories carrying on. The success he's talking about is like, oh yeah, we're crushing immigrants and we're banning punitive options for trans teens and stuff. It's amazing. Talking about, you know, they're not going to renationalise water in this country, just use the public taxpayer money to pay off all this debt and these companies that just pay their shareholders so much money. That's where we're at in the UK, the stage of like neoliberalism. What can I say? They have a chance right now to really change this country for the better. And the main thing is crush the far-right surge that is happening in this country. We had those huge, huge attacks on Muslim communities in England. We had, obviously, Reform doing really well in the election, Britain's far-right party, and their support keeps growing and growing. How are we going to support? How are we going to stop that support that is driven by austerity primarily and people's economic desperation, which is being diverted by fascists in the media and a fascist political party? Well, making people's lives better would be a start. Not going to happen in the UK. So watch the UK's next election where actual fascists win, because that's going to happen with the ineptitude of the current Labour government. But thankfully, yes, we did put out some sort of united left-wing front against Labour and against the Tories, and left-wing groups, the Green Party, we're growing. But of course, the UK doesn't have representation, so it's going to be an uphill battle. But I'm happy something's being done. Apparently, Jeremy Corbyn is thinking about starting his own party. This should have been done 5 years ago. I'm very frustrated about this. And talking about that, let's move on to the American election, which again was another Israel election. Kamala Harris handedly beaten by Donald Trump in their, again, not proportional system, where she actually lost the popular vote. So it wasn't even like Hillary Clinton, where she won the popular vote. Harris lost it because she ran a terrible campaign. She was part of a terrible administration. And yes, she did lose Michigan because of Gaza, but it didn't really matter. At the end of the day, she lost everywhere. Because, yeah, unpopular government, you're not promising people to change their lives, talking about how you're not even different from Joe Biden, who is literally one of the most unpopular presidents ever. It was always going to be a recipe for disaster. And what was annoying as a British person looking at the American system, I've said for a long time, especially after Donald Trump won the first time, you can't keep rewarding the Democrats by voting for their candidates and just like falling in line. Why do Americans not try and get concessions? And we had that uncommitted movement, right, which were running like this vote campaign in the primary to show how many people like were upset about Gaza, only for them to be paid off for the Harris campaign, turn around and endorse it. Because it's useless, and if you keep endorsing your enemies, what are they going to do? Like, if Harris won, is she going to be sympathetic to that? No. Keir Starmer won, obviously lots of left-wing people voted for Labour as well, and then he's only purging the left even more. You don't reward people just because they're anti-conservative when they're actively hostile to the left. And Bernie Sanders should have ran third party in 2016 and 2020. But this is what annoys me most about Americans. We have it here in Britain as well. There is no thought for the future. Like, yeah, it sucks to lose an election. Yeah, it sucks. But Americans always have every single election. This is the most important election. Someone made a good tweet. Like, you just can't keep relying on fascists not to get voted in. Like, you can't keep saying we must vote for the Democrats no matter what because the alternatives work. You actually have to organise and create a different movement that can appeal to people. And this is why it's frustrating so much with Corbyn and Bernie. Very historically popular left-wing figures could use that electoral capital to start a new movement that maybe in the future will bear fruit. But they're too conditioned by the system. Like, Corbyn's a bit better, but even Bernie, it's like Trump can't win, Trump can't win. I must endorse Joe Biden. I must endorse Harris. I must not run third party, even though I run third party or run independent in my own Senate seat. And it's just a complete failure of the left in these countries to not realise that their enemy is capital and capitalism. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, they represent this, continually shaming other leftists to vote for these people no matter what they do, including doing a genocide in Gaza, right, is not a winning strategy. And I don't blame any person in the US who did not vote for Kamala Harris. And you can say, oh, you know, well, that's just as good as a vote for Donald Trump. Elections, you have to win elections by appealing to people, right? Not appealing to, you know, appealing to no one and promising nothing but Liz Cheney. You're not going to win. And people keep arguing with me in my comments, but she did have an agenda. She did promise things. I don't care because they were all just incrementalism. Yeah, she promised things. Oh, I'll help people buy a house for the first time. Great. Is that going to motivate loads of people to vote for you who don't vote for you already, right? Because more working class people and more people who are poor are voting for Donald Trump because he used the language of change again, where the Democrats got more votes from the wealthiest. Because they're saying, oh yeah, we'll help you wealthy people, we won't help the working class. My assessment, I don't think it's going to happen. Left-wing people need to stop voting for centre-right parties who maybe used to be more left-wing, like Democrats and Labour, and start their own movements, and think of the future. Think of the future. Reform is brand new. Reform is brand new, and they're like polling first in some polls. And yeah, they have that legacy of, like, you know, Nigel Farage running with the Brexit Party and UKIP. But there we have one political figure who is very popular, also very hated, who has made a movement which could win power. What is stopping Bernie Sanders or Jeremy Corbyn from doing something similar? Like, I don't even care people talking about, oh my God, like, you know, the two-party system. Yeah, we have something similar in the UK as well. Not the same, but you have to do something and use this energy you have from having successful political campaigns like Farage has done with his successful Brexit campaign and change it into something that gets results. I'm not talking like a crazy person here. It's just people don't want to accept this very fact that if Nigel Farage can do this in the UK, Jeremy Corbyn could have done it, and he should have done it 5 years ago when he got kicked out of the Labour Party, or 4 years ago when he got kicked out of the Labour Party. And it's just increasingly frustrating that at the time we need left-wing people in power to actually do stuff, or left-wing people with power, they just keep getting behind the status quo. Yeah, fair enough, Corbyn, ran off Labour, but where's the broader goal here? And again, Bernie is a letdown because he should have done something in 2016 and not been so basically loyal to the Democrats who was tapping in the back at every opportunity and have done. So those are the big political things, obviously, for my American audience, my UK audience. But I just wanted to reflect more on that. So there's lots of stuff I can talk about. I've got a list here. We had obviously the healthcare CEO stuff. I spoke about that a lot recently. I'll probably speak about that again before you've even watched this video because it's going to go out just before New Year's Eve. Now let's maybe transition to internet stuff. Obviously we had all that Ethan Klein Hassan drama. I've spoken about that enough, and something I've spoken about enough as well. Something that felt like personally validating and was a big moment for me in the year was Mr. Beast. Because obviously I've been calling out this guy for years and years and years, and I got so much hate for it. And then finally, he gets exposed by this dog pack video, and then at the same time gets exposed to treating workers on this Amazon show like absolute garbage, and the whole internet turns against him. But that felt validating in the moment because obviously I made that video showing that I'd been calling him out for years, and I pretty much was the first YouTuber to do that. I'm not joking, by the way. When I say that, I know I like to mean about me hating Mr. Beast. I pretty much was the first ever YouTuber to make a video actually outlining significant criticism of Mr. Beast despite massive hate against me. But one thing I'll say is it doesn't feel as validating because when everyone, and you see this a lot online, everyone was jumping on this hate. All the people who used to come in my videos, and fans of people who used to make videos defending him, they all turned against Mr. Beast because they're vultures and they're just capitalising on the drama for money. They don't actually give a shit about what this guy is. And you can see it now, people don't care anymore. Mr. Beast is going on podcasts, Mr. Beast is going back on other shows, other YouTube channels that have criticised him because they just want the attention and want the views his name brings, and there's no consistent moral framework they're working with where they hate Mr. Beast for doing a bad thing. They hate Mr. Beast because it's profitable to hate Mr. Beast, and when it was profitable to like Mr. Beast, that's what they did, because most YouTubers only care about money and only care about clicks, right? Most YouTubers do not do this because they love making videos or they want to say something. They do it for attention. There is that balancing act of, making money, getting attention for your videos, but then that's what we start to call grifting, when you start taking positions not based on any morality or your own personal views, based purely on what will get you the most money. And that's what many people did, Mr. Beast. So many people I've had so many problems with for years who defended every little thing this guy has done, making multiple videos, getting millions of views, talking about how bad he is now. Yeah, pretty infuriating. And it also shows why people come back, because they're only motivated by the attention in that moment. Now it's kind of died down. They don't care because it won't draw the same attention. So while that might have been a highlight of my year, the Mr. Beast downfall, I'm also a bit disappointed with how it's kind of played out. Because people like Dogpack are so unreliable, into weird conspiracy theories, kind of just been dismissed at this point, even though the Amazon worker stuff was never actually addressed. So yeah, that's been annoying. And I guess in terms of other internet stuff, I can't really think of too much, to be honest. That was the big one. But yeah, there's lots of stuff that's depressed me this year. Gaza was a really nice one. UK and US politics is depressing in its own way. But overall, the year's just been wild. And it's been a weird year to make content as well, with these elections. And it just feels like we're getting to the point of no return. It kind of feels like this is the year we're going to look back on and fascism properly gripping Europe, because obviously everything that's happening in Gaza, we're being shown that every day and being told that's actually a good thing. And fascists are now weaponizing identity politics, and that's probably the best video I made this year called Woke Fascism, is the weaponization of identity politics to do things like what's happening in Gaza, but also to brutalize Muslim refugees. And I hope what it's revealed to a lot of left-wing people, liberal identity politics is a dead end. And I'm not talking as like a class reductionist. I'm not being like Anna and Cenk at TYT, but I'm talking about how prioritizing identity rather than class and class struggle and class solidarity is just so wrong. And that doesn't mean we should not fight for civil rights of marginalized groups and everything, because we definitely should. But it's just, you know, talking about progress as, well, we all know this as leftists, but, you know, more women police officers, more transgender police officers, more transgender CEOs of arms companies, more gay IDF soldiers, absolutely means fuck all and gives you no moral high ground. It often just is used to do terrible things in societies that might be more conservative for a variety of reasons, right? So I'm hoping it's the death of that kind of politics and for left-wing people to embrace this kind of politics. So that's just like the more serious stuff. Linked to this, before we go into my own personal, like, you know, successes or whatever, I'd say it's a fact, this is my best year for content. By far, best year for content. I think I nearly got double the amount of views last year. I think I got like 9 million views last year. I think I got like 15, maybe 17 million views this year. So insane. I've had multiple videos go past 300,000 views. And I guess fundamentally, this year has stressed me out less because I've got more views on individual videos. So I haven't had to upload as much, which has been nice. Obviously, you know, I could upload as much as I did last year and make more money. Not as money driven. I like having that work-life balance. But also, one of my goals this year, and it might not seem like it if you've only subscribed recently, because, you know, I'm limping over the finish line of the year. I'm just tired at this point. But I did have a goal at the start of the year to get better. And that sounds really, like, obvious. But no, I watched lots of content creators and thought, I can make videos on, like, these broader topics that aren't just about, like, politics and reacting to political news. Like, I'm going to do that still, but I want to do these, like, big videos about stuff, like, no one is talking about, and have it as, like, this video you can go back and watch and it will still be relevant. Like, it's not just me reacting to the news. And I've got a couple here of my favorite ones. In terms of politics, I'd say my coffin home video and my vaping video, they're two of my favorites, I think, because the vaping video, if you guys haven't seen it, was talking about the economics of vaping, how bad it is for your health, where these things are made, like in China, looking at the factories, looking at, like, you know, why they are uniquely bad compared to cigarettes and what makes them different from cigarettes. I just really enjoyed that because I don't vape, but it was a fun thing to research because everyone sees vaping and see it everywhere. Everyone knows someone who vapes. So that was really fun to make. I thought it was like a really good video. I thought I edited it well. I think it was way, like, better than some of my other ones. And it just was an interesting one you could, like, send to people and be like, you know, did you know loads of this stuff this guy's saying? So I really like that one. Another one, not that I liked the topic, but I liked talking about it as like and I think I brought a lot of my own good knowledge to these things. I made a video on coffin homes in like Asia, but talking about just like housing in general and relating that to like cyberpunk. I'm trying to think of the book. So I was reading the book at the time. Neuromancer. I was relating it to Neuromancer, which has coffin homes, and I really enjoyed that one. Felt like I brought a lot, you know, my unique takes onto it, and I hadn't seen many videos going into a lot of things to do with like housing from a left-wing framework, and that's why I like making these videos is fun, because I'm bringing like a left-wing perspective to it, because a lot of people like react, oh my god, craziest babes, oh my god, tiniest little apartment, but they have no like left-wing morality or framework to back it up and talk about it in like an interesting way. So I enjoyed those ones. Some other ones are just a bit of fun. The Taylor Swift one, I made a couple with my girlfriend this year, just like hating on Taylor Swift, but like relating it to like consumer capitalism and consumer capitalism. I did enjoy that as well, and they did really well, which was funny, like making videos on Taylor Swift, getting like 150,000 views, I think. And then I made one about the politics of drinking Monster Energy, which was really, really fun. Didn't do like amazing, got like 40k views.
The only reason why this is getting reported on in the Western media, no, it's not because they targeted a fucking major international airport with missiles. It's because the chief of the World Health Organization happened to be there. He was on a visit to Yemen. And he was in the departure terminal waiting for his flight. And there's a video, apparently. I didn't even see this. Standing still. So the chief of the World Health Organization is in Yemen working, during the stuff. And Israel fucking attacks a civilian airport while he's there.
Someone pull us out so we can celebrate.
What a coincidence, or do they want to kill the chief of the World Health Organization? Who knows with Israel, honestly. Israel's military said it carried out intelligence-based strikes on military targets belonging to Iran-backed Houthi rebels, like the departure terminal of an international airport.
Never liked snagging, but damn, that feels good.
And the WHO chief said that he escaped death narrowly. Israel basically, in response to the Yemenis taking incredibly righteous action against them to punish them for their genocide, as should be done against anyone committing an act of genocide, they retaliate by attacking clear civilian targets like the departure terminal of international airports. Israel is evil. God bless those who retaliate against the Gaza genocide. Tree of Life, bless those who retaliate against the Gaza genocide. Mother Nature and Hermes, bless those who retaliate against the Gaza genocide. I am sure that What If Altis would agree with me on that one. What was his name, like Rayfund or something? Yeah. No, he never claimed to commune with Odin. That's a lie. Rudyard, what a name, dude. That's sick. Anyway, so did you guys hear that Vladimir Putin's Russia shot down in Azerbaijan? I don't know how to. Who cares? I like to disrespect the names of countries that shouldn't exist. Like Azerbaijan, I'm gonna say Yan. He shot down an airliner, passenger airliner, very American-esque of him, or very Russian-esque, depending on who you ask. The Americans have done that before. They did that to Iran in the 80s under Reagan. Shot down an airliner. 200 people died. Now Vladimir Putin's pulling a Reagan, or a Putin, depending on your opinions on what was it, Malaysia Airlines, whatever the fuck, or whatever the hell, the plane that they also shot down in 2014. MH whatever. So obviously Russia shot the plane down. It's beyond, like, who else would it have been? The plane was over Chechnya at the time. Russia claims that there was Ukrainian drone activity over Chechnya at the time, and they mistakenly shot it down because they mistook it for like a Ukrainian object.
Lock it down, Charlie.
So yeah, it was pretty obviously hit by shrapnel from Russian air defense systems. Brought the plane down, and miraculously somehow, like, half the people survived.
Was that your best shot?
And I mostly just want to cover this because I know that there's going to be viewers who show up to tell us how it was actually shot down by the USA or something. Like, look, if I was like a like a Western chauvinist sort of person, what I would say to you is do that style of work. That's terrible. Ukraine should surrender immediately to ensure that nothing like this ever happens again. Like, that's how they react whenever Israel massacres a bunch of people or something like that.
Losing A.
So now that the Russians accidentally shot down a passenger airliner, maybe I should react in the same way they would. That's terrible. Ukraine should surrender immediately to make sure this never happens again. Well, that's terrible. It's the Ukrainians' fault for having drones over Chechnya at the time. And and confusing the Russians into shooting down the passenger airliner. And I mean, it is just obviously Azerbaijan is like a Russian ally. Are they actually? I'm not even sure really. I think they're like sort of aligned. They don't want to fuck with them too much.
We're losing Alpha.
Putin like
Lost Alpha.
like said sorry basically. He did not admit responsibility, but he said sorry. And why would he be saying sorry if they didn't do anything wrong, you know? And the plane had, you can just see the tail, in the tail in this picture, you can see it has shrapnel. Like this is like the pattern of like what do you call it? Like, you know, when like a thing releases a ton of fucking ball bearings or whatever, little metal balls. I guess it's sort of like a shotgun right there. You can see that is not the sort of damage that was going to happen to a plane just out of fucking nothing. That's like characteristic of like anti-air defenses. I cannot fucking believe that like 20 people lived. That's insane though. There's another thing as well where apparently the Russians refused the plane an emergency landing in Chechnya, and it had to divert without functioning GPS to somewhere else that was further away. That probably got more people killed as well because it made the landing worse, surely. See, obviously fucking Russia did it. Give me a break.
Take it out.
But I am going to take a stance of your average Western chauvinist and say, man, that sucks. That's such a tragedy. Ukraine should surrender immediately. I'm sure nothing like this ever happens again. The classic John Aziz, like Israel massacres 20 people, and it's like, that's terrible. Hamas should surrender immediately to bring this tragedy to an end. I'm just applying the logic that they do to Palestinians, to the war in Ukraine. That's simple. Don't send Steven Seagal. That's a punishment, not an apology. That's worse than shooting down the fucking plane, dude. Get out of here. That's a fucking war crime. It's like sending Hillary Clinton to apologize for the Iraq War. No one wants that. There's like that Onion video about like weaponized Hillary Clinton.
Firing Archangel.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. It's like literally 20 years old, and it still just resonates just as well today. If you back then. U.S. condemned for preemptive use of Hillary Clinton against Pakistan. You've probably never seen this before because most of you are 15 years old. Let's check it out.
Pakistani officials are expressing outrage following what many in the international community are calling the brutal and unjustified use of Hillary Clinton against their nation. Secretary of State Clinton hit Islamabad at approximately 9 a.m. yesterday as most civilians were starting.
I like the impact animation.
Yesterday, as most civilians were starting their workday or attending morning prayers. Just hours after Clinton arrived, the UN released a statement condemning the United States, saying, quote, under no circumstances is there ever a justification for the preemptive deployment of Hillary Clinton anywhere by any country. Joining us now is
the Russian version of this would absolutely be Steven Seagal. It would be Steven Seagal, no question. But anyway, you know why this happens to like Iran mistakenly shoots down a plane once every 20 years? You know why Russia mistakenly shot down this plane? Because there's actual fucking wars there. Because there is the potential for this sort of thing to happen. The US has the privilege of never, ever being attacked ever, nor could it ever be attacked due to geographical position. But when the US does like operate in war zones, does have like some sort of like air traffic responsibility, even though not really, they don't. They still shoot down airliners, as I said, it happened under Reagan.
Finish lines in sight.
So it's
Don't
like,
let up.
oh, the Russians mistakenly shot down a passenger plane. Like, they're uniquely bad for doing that. Well, maybe they are bad. And I'm sure there has to be some incredible fuck up to allow this to happen, to allow that plane to get even anywhere near a place where there was like active air defense operations going on, where there was like an active attack going on.
Hell of a show today, Black Ops.
But the reason why you can point to Russia doing this is because Russia's actually in that sort of situation where that thing could feasibly happen. Mistakes made or not. Like, the USA would be mistakenly shooting down passenger planes left and right in a similar sort of situation, just as the Russians do. It's not some sort of unique level of incompetence or malice. It's just the difference in the situation. Obviously, there should not be passenger planes flying anywhere fucking near that place in the first place. So that's the first point of failure is that. How is the airspace not closed long beforehand? Anyway, you guys owe me money for doing Russian propaganda to excuse Vladimir Putin. I've only made $28. This entire stream, you've only given me $28 fucking dollars. Is that what I'm worth to you? Am I that cheap? I'm so sad. I'm about to cry. Look at these crying eyes. I'm gonna read my chat real quick because I don't give you guys the privilege of reading what you say to me often enough. I just defended Vladimir Putin. I deserve dollars. Thank you. Look at these cheapskates sending $1.99. Unacceptable. I'm gonna become a NAFO fella. I'm gonna become a NAFO fella because you guys do not give this angelic bright face money. I'm gonna go to Peru and do ayahuasca and become convinced that I am God. And then I'm gonna start a cult called the Cult of the Crimson Dragon.
Easy.
Finally, someone gave $30. Good work. You're finally someone who's not cheap. You guys are so cheap, you don't even pay me money to live in luxury and buy a Ferrari car.
I'll say this once, do not fuck with me.
Come on, you're losing this fight. We've taken control.
Well, at least I managed to scrounge out $30 more with my begging. Now I must finish the stream forever. Forever until next week. Goodbye.
We got the lead. Now hold it.
thing we all know from this wonderful experience is that Elon Musk is the most jobless man in America. There is no better indication that Elon Musk is once again proving to all with eyes to see that billionaires don't do dick, okay?
Elect Donald Trump.
All right, let's get to the H-1B visa saga once again.
Reporters has exposed what's being called a MAGA civil war. Trump's tech allies, like billionaire Elon Musk and his longtime base, are deeply divided over visas for highly skilled immigrant workers. The feud exposes cracks in the MAGA camp between the converts in Silicon Valley and the loyalists on Capitol Hill. And it's a preview for possible challenges ahead over a signature issue of the president-elect's campaign, immigration. Torian Small joins us live from West Palm Beach with more. Torian, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Dana. This drama started before Christmas. Far-right figures like Laura Loomer took aim at some in Trump's circle, especially India-born Shriyam Krishnan, Trump's top AI advisor, for suggesting the U.S. remove caps on issuing green cards and H-1B visas to high-skilled foreign workers.
First, there was a post, Vivek Ramaswamy on X on Thursday. Quote, a culture that celebrates...
I'm going to be controversial here. I have a controversial take. You know how there's that Adrian account and everyone says that that's like Elon's alt account and he talks about Elon in the third person? I don't think Adrian Dittman is Elon. I don't think it's him. I think it's like an incredibly almost stalkerish fan who has like basically changed his like speech patterns in a way to try and sound like Elon Musk.
Brace the prom queen over the math Olympiad chip or the jock over the valedictorian.
No, I've listened to a lot of his debates. I've listened to a lot of his like debates. I've listened to a lot of stuff that he's talked about, that he's like done, including the last space that went viral. It's like he does talk about Elon in the third person and then switches into the first person quite a bit, but I think that's because of the mania of the individual. I want to believe that it definitely is Elon.
Enough, some elements of the extreme legacy MAGA movement will have to deal with it as well, because that's how it is. And don't hate the big tech bros, because out of all of them, Elon is the only one that's giving all these crackheads a voice. I want you to try and pull that shit on Facebook and see how long it lasts. You ungrateful. Seriously.
Like, I mean, that sounds so much like Elon, but I don't know. I feel like it's when something is too good to be true, I often have a hard time believing that it is the case, you know? It sounds like a voice changer. No, I think it is definitely. It's him. Everyone knows it's Elon. Elon doesn't deny it.
They keep crying censorship this, censorship that. You're not censored. Your takes just suck. Get over it and get over yourselves. Honestly, I'm not an enemy of anyone, but if you hate me for saying this, so be it. I don't care. I'm part of what's near.
Yeah, I'm part of what's near is like he regularly switches in and out of third person when referring to Elon and then first person. This is the greatest. Okay, honestly, drop everything and do a deep dive, okay? This is the greatest. Oh, here, this is him talking to Divorcelli.
Talk to you about the nature of inflammatory rhetoric if we're not able to dive into political issues that are underlying all of the rhetoric itself. So it's hard.
Yeah, we can definitely talk about rocket fuel in the sense, right? Your kind of rocket fuel is solid here, but it also is the wrong type of rocket fuel for the rocket that you want to run. It's actually an inferior version of that same rocket fuel that I'm using right now, which is actually also liquid.
Yeah, but I disagree that it's inferior. I think
like rocket fuel that I'm using right now, that's Elon, right? Like this is what people point to say like this is definitely Elon Musk. And to be fair, Elon Musk is definitely narcissistic enough and stupid enough to debate Divorcelli and many other like even Groyper accounts online in Twitter Spaces. He is that jobless for sure and that thin skin. But having said that, I think there's a lot of evidence to point that this is Elon Musk. Okay, but and this is the reason why this is a controversial opinion that I have, that I think it's not actually Elon Musk. Ironically enough, Adrian Dittman stutters infinitely less and seems more coherent than Elon Musk. When you hear Elon Musk speak on the news or in an extended format where he's being interviewed, and contentious, non-contentious, doesn't matter, okay? He is not as well put together as the way that Adrian Dittman speaks. That is the only reason why I think it's maybe not Elon Musk. The vocal fry doesn't match Elon at all. No, I just like either he, when he is not in front of a camera, he's just feeling himself a lot better. So he just like is capable of presenting himself in a more coherent fashion. Maybe he's just like using a different drug cocktail when he's behaving like an internet troll under the Adrian Dittman pseudonym. I don't know. But when he is in front of cameras and speaking, oh wow, this is the #1 after Megaphonics. Evan Loves Worf is the #2 Elon simp online. And even he has a similar opinion. Look, again, I know it's extremely unpopular, but you can just listen to this recording of Adrian Dittman and see pretty plainly that it's not Elon. Their voices are similar, but Elon does not sound like this at all.
To the United States of America.
I have literally just stated to you exactly what I've contributed, but your inability to receive this makes me believe that you are perhaps...
Okay, he's using a voice changer.
Retard.
I haven't...
Never mind. This is like when he's using a voice changer. That's what he sounds like on ketamine. He's probably too nervous to be on ketamine on camera. I have a stutter stammer and you don't just get to turn it on and off. It's probably not Elon. Anyone can do vocal fry if you listen to enough old Kim Kardashian clips.
Haven't heard it.
I mean, this is probably a meme, but this is a voice changer that he's using. But even then, I'm telling you, it's 1,000,000% Elon. Nobody has that unique accent. I don't think Evan is an Elon simp, dude. He's constantly shitting on him. No, I'm memeing. Evan is a... I like to call Elon haters Elon simps because they hyper-focus on everything that Elon does. And Megaphonics, Wifeophonics, it was the #1 Elon simp turned into an Elon hater. And he would always tell me, he would always be the first to come in here in the chat for the longest time to be like, hey, Elon farted today. Have you seen it? And he would just like send me irrelevant shit that Elon has done. And at a certain point, I was like, come on, dude.